Welcome aboard, Shannon.
Sorry, guys. Just a little bit of pain trying to get up to my computer here.
Is your back still out?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right.
And a kid with a separated shoulder. You're taxing our medical system, Shannon.
Okay, you may,
But,
And
you may
apparently-
go ahead.
but
and
Why didn't you
apparently-
bring the computer to the bed? It would
And
have been
apparently
easier.
a vicious dog that is perhaps still in his cage.
Dave, you may go ahead.
All right.
all right.
Let's get started. Okay, Butler, stop. You gotta be good. So Tammy, it's actually you up first if I look at the agenda that I've got on my phone beside me, because you're going to tell us about budget, if anything.
I have nothing new to report on the budget that I'm
Neither do
aware of.
we. Oh, who does?
I have nothing.
Does anybody have anything? Is your cat, what is my dog doing? All right. So moving on. I thought I heard somebody say they did, but that's okay. So what's up next? Muriama. Mark?
So nothing major to update, although we did get a direct contact for Shannon for the youth program, which I've shared with everybody on the committee. But that's great news for the youth program, that there is a person now totally dedicated to youth, and they'll be assigning somebody for the citizens group probably within a month. But great news. So we can start actively communicating and decide how we want to move forward on Shannon's side.
Do we know if this person speaks English or whether we're still going to be looking for a translator over there? Now Daniel's gone.
She is going to be minimum, but not too bad. Like we're gonna be okay. Like
I've
we'll
heard
be
that
okay.
before.
But Hiromi's obviously, and she was copied as well. She is offered to help with any translations we need. So, but
Right.
in email communications, no problem at all, none whatsoever. So
Well,
it's good news.
whomever's in conversation with Muriama, be it you, Shannon, with the youth, or you, Mark, with the other one, I think we all need to be on the same page. It's already March. I see no way of us running anything in this summer. So
I
we're
agree.
looking at the summer of 2023. I mean,
I
sell
agree.
it with enthusiasm, how excited we are to move forward when the medical situation allows us to. But they were talking about 2023, and Hiromi says their country's still closed. So
Yeah.
I just
And-
don't think.
This individual basically didn't sound as optimistic as the other
Okay.
one. She,
All right.
you know what, right, Shannon? She's,
Yeah.
I think, you know what, and we'll work together, but I think if we attack it with enthusiasm, like you say, and go full head into 2023, I think that'll give it, it'd be hard for us to recruit kids right now. And I would be amazed at parents just free willy letting their kids go. I mean, there'd be a lot of concern, especially at this particular time. So, but I think it's good news because our communication is full force and away we go.
All right, sounds good. Youth ambassadors, while we have you, Shannon, that's basically where we're at, right?
That's where we're at. Do you want me to talk about the bookmarks now or after?
Now's good.
Now is good. So where we stand with the bookmarks is the pricing from the city of Barrie is the best pricing. I've gone back to Cheryl Harris, but I haven't heard back from her to see if we have to alter the templates that she produced for you, Mark,
Yes.
for the flags. So I'm just waiting on a response from her on that, whether we have to change they call it a bleed line or whatever around the outside to make it a bookmark. And if it's going to cost us any money to add the website to the back on that final image. So I'd like to, if I can, because I know we're not going to meet for another month, see if I can pass a motion to use upwards of, and I don't think it will be anywhere near $750, but $750 for the bookmarks to get 2,000 of them out the door. When
Okay.
and if I get answers.
Okay, I've got a motion from Shannon for up to 750. I see Rob is seconding it. All right, any discussion? All those in favor? Raise a hand, wave at me. Anyone opposed? None. We're good. All right, that passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
All I can tell you is about Global, is that the deadline has passed. They seem to have had a good response. I mean, it's a little lighter this year, obviously, because we're now in the third year of of applications for a program that's focused in a lot of international with 3 years not being able to go. But things are looking very positive for next year. And I have to tell you, and I've said it before, and I would be happy to say it. I've said it to their faces. I think you all need to know just how impressed we should be with the efforts of Jeff Toole as coordinator and their team, including Jamie, because the simple truth of the matter is that for them to even keep that program alive, given the restrictions that have been placed on them with no travel to Germany, to Cuba, none of those exchanges, they've done an amazing job of keeping that international flavor, doing a lot of stuff through virtual and virtual conferences and that type of thing. So it looks good for next year. The current group is keen. I know that a number of you will probably be involved, as you have been in the past, going in and guest speaking with them, and that's awesome. But I'll let them be in touch to do all of that as they have in the past. So I don't think there's anything more than that at the moment. And since at this point, there are no expenditures that connect to IRC. I have approved, along with, actually, I've talked to Wendy. There's some minimal expenses that they're doing in connection with Germany that will come out of the Youth Ambassadors account, not international relations, but you should at least know that they're happening and they've all been approved through the process. All right. Any questions about any of that? Okay. Next, German twinning.
So I'm still working with the city of Zweibrücken for the 25th anniversary celebrations that are scheduled to take place in Zweibrücken between the 4th and the 11th of May. The Germans intend to go ahead with that. They've contacted the Canadian military presence in Ramstein. The Canadian military contingent is going to attend a ceremony in the cemetery, the main cemetery of Zweibrücken, to mark the commemoration of the 140 Canadian graves. Those are graves of dependents that died in Europe during the Canadian presence. So they're going to have a ceremony there with bagpipes and trumpeter who will play Last Post, Reveille, and God Save the Queen. That's and laying of wreaths. There's a number of activities planned. I don't have the complete itinerary yet. So the Germans are going ahead with that. Also, I'm working with the Germans for our celebration in September from the 4th to the 14th. And it looks like they have 40 people on a list of tourists that want to come and visit Barrie in September. A majority of them would stay in the hotel. The hotel has been booked. The officials will stay at the hotel, and then there will be a number of people that will be privately billeted, people that are repeat visitors associated to King Edward Choir. So Bunty Brooks and Bill and I are working on setting up various programs. So that's sort of the update on the German twinning at this point.
Marie, sorry to ask, do
Yeah.
you have the dates in September? I can't remember what they were.
Yes, from the 4th to the 14th.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions, Lou? No? Sorry, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have enough? Do you have enough accommodations? For your guests?
We're still working on putting together a billet list because I don't have a list of all the people that are coming. So what I'm trying to get from Stephanie is the list of those that were already here and who they stayed with. But we may need extra billets. I did have a question, Dave. Last year we approved in a motion, I think up to a figure not to exceed $9,000 to pay for the airfare for 6 people to attend in May. But that was in last year's motions. Do we need to do another motion for the same motion for this year? Because that money didn't get spent in last year. We decided not to book because we were unsure about the situation with COVID, right?
Well, I would assume, I mean, obviously we're dealing with this year's money. So I would assume it needs this year's motion. We don't carry over the motions any more than we carry over the money, correct?
Right.
Ed?
Right.
But I wasn't sure if I needed to have that on the agenda.
We're good. Make a motion.
So I'd like to move that a figure of not more than $9,000 be set aside to cover the airfares for the 6 participants who are going to attend the 25th anniversary celebrations in the city of Zweibrücken between the 4th and the 11th of May, 2022.
Can I? Sure. I mean, seconder? Mark?
Yep.
Okay, motion's on the table. I have a question about this, but I mean, it's really about the overall thing, not about the motion. So is there any questions about the motion? Yes,
Who are the individuals?
good question.
So Bill Sargent and Monica Sargent, Bunty Brooks, myself, and we had we were under the impression that Jeff and his partner would attend, but I don't think that that's going to happen. And so I have a call pending. So I wasn't sure if the deputy mayor and his partner would attend, but there's only been 4 people identified, and those discussions were held by Rob Warman prior to last October, I think. I'm not Dave. Rob spoke to you about that. I wasn't in on those conversations, but maybe you can answer more about that.
He and I had a number of conversations about who should be included in this and all the rest of the routine. But I think since we don't, at this point, none of those decisions have been made yet. I mean, before we start bandying names about in a public forum, I think these people should be asked rather than just have their names thrown about. So we can, Jean-Marie, perhaps you and I can talk at some point in the next day or so and
Sure.
share those names, and then we'll go from there. Does it make sense?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay. First of all, Barry can probably speak for himself, but from what I hear, with our mayor basically stepping away in order to run for the provincial, I'm not sure that Barry's going to be able to go to Germany at that time. I mean, he's certainly welcome to. He's right there. He can talk for himself, but I can't hear a word.
Oh, the old plug-in.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I had to switch to a plug-in. Yeah, there's just not a chance. I mean, I'll be acting mayor, and I don't like the optics of going to Germany while filling in for the mayor. So yeah, it's a time thing too. I mean, that's right at the time of what day did you say it was?
The 4th to the 11th of May.
Yeah, it's right. It's smack in the middle of it. So no, it's just my own personal life. There's not enough time for me to get organized to do it too. So
Okay. Jean-Maurice, you and I can have a conversation whenever it's convenient for you.
Okay, I'll give you a ring tomorrow, Dave.
Sounds good. All right.
Colonel
Yes.
Brewis has his hand raised.
Yep,
Just one
Vice
last question. What's the nationality of the military contingent, which is going to be there? German?
So it's Royal Canadian Air Force. They're stationed in Ramstein.
Right.
And they're representing the Canadians in
Okay.
NATO, because Ramstein is 30 kilometers from Zweibrücken.
Yeah.
And it's a Colonel Pamplin and a Sergeant Major Manon Bouchard. And they've requested certain pieces of music. I've been busy procuring the notes for the German trumpeter to make sure that they can play what Colonel Pamplin requested, and so they'll be a laying of wreath at the cemetery. Those are 140 of our dependents' graves, but there's a number of locations across Europe. I don't know how familiar you are, Colonel, with the Canadian military graves in Europe.
Okay, good. Okay, anything else on this? Okay, the motion, we need to have a vote. All in favor? Okay, and anyone opposed? All right, so we're good. That passed. Jean-Maurice, so 2 quick things. Am I correct in assuming, because remember, we only do this once a month.
Yeah.
Am I correct in assuming that at this point, the idea of the tourist group going with the official delegation has kind of gone by the by? Am I correct in that assumption?
Going to Europe, yeah.
Going to Europe, am I
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, yeah.
So it's the official delegation, period, end of sentence, correct?
Yeah, there's a couple other persons that may go on their own dime and be privately billeted to take part in some of the ceremonies. So we have an organist that we're lining up who's involved with King Edward, and he may go to play Canadian pieces of music in a church service that they're organizing. But in terms of an official tourist group and a larger group, no, there's no tourist group at this point.
Okay. All right. I was just, I mean, I just wanted to confirm that we were no longer doing that under
Yeah.
the circumstances. And I'm also assuming that there's a fail-safe in this where if things get worse in Europe, we just bail.
Well, when I spoke to the Germans last, they intend to do the celebration. They intend to mark the 25th anniversary. They're going to do it in Zwei, regardless of who comes from Canada or whether we can come or not. They've evolved in terms of the COVID situation to the point that they want to get on with doing these things. So I don't think that COVID would hold this up. I think something else might prevent people from flying.
Well, that was my point. I wasn't talking about COVID anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
touching wood and all kind of fingers.
So
crossed.
the distance between Zweibrücken and northern Germany in Hamburg is the same distance as from Zweibrücken to the capital of the Ukraine. If that gives you any kind of idea of how close the situation is over there, I think that would be the only reason that it wouldn't happen is that things take a turn for the worse, or they get out of control. But in terms of COVID, I don't think COVID is an issue anymore.
Not worried about COVID, but make sure that there's a cancellation process for whatever the hell's going on in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they're going to do what they're going to do. I don't know what the airlines. I think if you book and you cancel, they give you a credit. I don't think they refund your money. They give you a voucher that says, yeah, you can fly within so much time. But yeah, it's difficult to know how to proceed.
All right. I might have a suggestion we can talk about tomorrow, but basically we're online and it all sounds good to me. So that's good.
Okay.
Anything else on this?
I don't think so, unless
All
there's
right.
any questions.
No. All right. Good. Next. Harrogate. Bill?
I just needed to unmute there.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to say, unfortunately, I don't have any news. And Lou and Rick had pinged me with respect to the rugby. They haven't heard anything lately. Now, Michael and Clive have been in the middle of putting on a panto that just finished this weekend. So they have been focusing on that and not necessarily on the exchanges that we've got with respect to Scouts and St. John Ambulance and other items that we come forward with. So at this time, nothing new to report. I'm hoping that this week that Michael will get back to me with, contacts and the fact that he's been able to nudge this forward.
Okay. Thank you. And there's nothing from Morass. Sir Robert Barry project.
So Robert Barry, we are moving forward. We have the pennant. It is currently at Petra Hewson's farm down south of Thornton. She is researching various frames for us and mattings and how to put it up there. Jean-Maurice has gone ahead and purchased a North Atlantic Star battle medal, and that'll go in it. We are sourcing, well, once again, Jean-Maurice is sourcing a hat tally for HMCS Barrie, and we're hoping to get that through the Naval Association here in Barrie. So Diane Chislett said she had one at one time, but needs to find out where she put it. So once that's there, those two items will go in. We're putting together a booklet that will be put with the framed pennant and the model down in the rotunda at City Hall. And then in November, we're hoping that the Veterans Club Barrie will accept our offer to talk about HMCS Barrie and what we've got within the city to display that. And I've got an email from a gentleman in Victoria who's coming to Barrie for Kempenfest this summer, and he wants to see this collection. So, lots of little action on the Sir Robert Barrie project. And oh, by the way, we had a meeting just this week, so we've got the minutes that we'll be submitting to the finance people so we can get reimbursed for this when it goes through.
Good. All right, thank you. So that's the normal agenda. There are two other items that I had put on just because I think I want to make sure that everyone's on the same page with regard to this. So next Monday, the 7th, at 7 o'clock, there's going to be a council meeting that's on a Zoom. Tammy, can I rely on you, or tell me who's going to be sending all these people whatever connection they need to do the Zoom to get on the council meeting? So at least watch it. You're going to take care of that for the committee. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can send, the committee can watch it through the city's YouTube channel, but anybody doing the presentation will be invited to the meeting.
Right.
Well,
So
we'll be in attendance of the meeting.
I understand. So this is by the way, this is the last council meeting that's going to be done by Zoom. So it is what it is. There are, from what I've heard, 3 presentations. The thing starts at 7. We've got no clue when we are. I've suggested, some of you joined late. I've suggested that Mark has sort of volunteered.
Yeah, I'll give Wendy a call.
To talk to Wendy Cook, the city clerk, to see if we might nudge ourselves up in the lineup. Because we're spread out all over in Ontario at that time. What's going to happen with it at this point, although please, if anybody wants to become more involved with it, just let me know. I thought I, as chair, would start and explain where this process came from. I might use it as an opportunity to indicate some of the things that International has done, even though we haven't been able to run exchanges or deal with it, that we've kept all of our avenues open, that we've made progress. Bill, with your permission, or maybe with your involvement, we might mention the banners and the fact that that's something that new that we've been able to produce. But the essence of it is that after 2 minutes of my intro, I'm going to pass it to Kieran. I've talked to Kieran, and he's agreed to actually do the presentation of the website itself. I mean, he built it. He knows it frontwards, backwards, sideways. And he's quite keen to join us and to do that. So he's going to do a walkthrough of the various sections and how they find it and all the rest of that routine. And then he'll throw it back to me, and I'll see if there's any questions from the council. I'll make a point of thanking everybody and then all the rest of that routine. And that'll basically be it. And although according to our mayor, there's no real time limit on these things. But the bottom line is that I think we can probably get it done. From what Kieran has given me on timelines, I think we can do a decent job of it in about 15 minutes. I've also going to be, and actually, Tammy, this is something else that either you can send me a list of or you can do it. I'm pretty well connected with the local print press, so I'm going to be contacting them. Yes, I'll be contacting Marge, and yes, I'm going to be contacting Chris Simon, the 2 people that did great articles on Global. I'm going to be letting them know in advance about the web launch, and it would be nice if we could get some media attention on the fact so that it goes out on a broader basis to the community. I mean, except for the usual people that never miss council, I don't think, I suspect council is not terribly well watched in the Zoom format. All right. I mean, I don't know that. I have no stats, but the wider a net we can throw, the better. The more people that interact with the website, the better for us, so that we can use it moving forward as a place for not just applications for things, but a way of presenting our news for a variety of things. Okay. So that's the plan for the web launch.
Great.
So does that all sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Tammy, which would you prefer? Would you prefer to give me a list of your media outlets and I contact them? Or would you prefer me to give you a 2-sentence blurb that you can send out? Or who does
Well,
that?
that's done through our communications
that
access
Sherry?
Barrie. Yeah,
that
that's
Sherry?
Sherry Harris. Yeah,
All right,
Sherry
I'll-
Harris area.
All right, I'll give her a shout tomorrow then. That's all good. Okay, she can get that information out there. It's, I mean, or she can give it to me, however that works. I'm not
Or I
trying.
I can contact her as well to contact you. It doesn't really matter.
Okay, sure.
Whatever's easier.
Well, you can contact her and tell her to contact me because she's busy, and you know what, however that works is fine.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Is there
Okay.
are there any questions about the web launch? I mean, hopefully you'll be able to join us. You don't have to, but obviously it would be nice if you did. Bill, I do have one question.
All right.
The banner thing, although I assisted, was mostly your play. Do you want to discuss that with council, or do you want me to just present the fact it's happened?
If you would present it, it would please me to no end.
All right, fine. It's all good.
All right. Thanks, Steve.
Pardon? Oh, no, that's good.
No, thank you.
Okay, so the next one, this is the weird one that almost none of you. Pardon? Am I good?
Mhm.
Okay. The last point on the agenda is, I think, really exciting. So, and I'm gonna try and shorten this because we're only a portion of this. But for people that have been to Japan, you'll remember that Murayama took you to their the Higashawa Rose Garden. And
Actually, Moria, on this last trip, we didn't go because it was raining so hard.
Oh.
So
okay, well
So
then,
there- we have,
perhaps
but
one of you
gardeners
know
and
it.
Lalonde have.
All right, so
Not everybody.
in this thing, not only are there roses planted from Canada and all the rest of that routine, just as there are in Germany, but they have a building that's called their International Center, and there's a whole wing of it that's dedicated to their partnerships, and Canada's a major part of that. I know that Canada's involvement with Zweibrücken, with the totems and things that happen in their rose garden, but also there's display cases much like we have, and there's those situations. So I started playing with an idea, and the short version of this is that I think the fact that we have salvaged and invested in the historic Allendale train station, now that the court cases are over and it's definitely ours, that historic building should serve a historic modern purpose. Yes, there should be a restaurant on one of the buildings that looks out over the water. I think everyone in Barrie not only wants that idea, expects that idea, are excited about the opportunity. But I also think there's an opportunity to combine a number of different things. And what I've been presenting, and I'm in the process of writing it up, I promised it to Barry before tonight, but it's taking longer than I had anticipated. So the idea is that those other buildings would then become a historical center to start with for Indigenous roots. All right. And the part where that's open, the platform area that's got a roof, that would be a great place for some Indigenous sculptures and things such as that, starting in the historical underpinnings. They'd have to be, we'd secure them in some way at night with maybe some grate or whatever. And then the interior of the buildings, I don't know whether you folks are aware of it or not, but the Barrie Historical Association has done a brilliant job of creating sort of a digital presence of history in our community. And it does everything from street names to histories about different people and different times. And my thought would be to create a bit of a, using their stuff, but also using some other new input to create a sort of a historical background that could talk about yes, the Indigenous, but also the early settlers and some of the big major contributions as we move forward. Create a kind of a video viewing area that would hardwire some computers that would allow people to go in and click from a menu. Have a kind of a viewing area with a main screen that could have people choose like video shorts that provide some of the background to some of the stuff. I also see Barrie is one of the few communities that doesn't have an archive. I mean, good old Wasaga Beach, for God's sake, thanks to my sister, has a vibrant archive. And I think in Barrie, there's lots of things that could be put in there to bring back various memories of various different types of people. But then it would also move up and we would start talking about the current Barrie. And then that's where you guys come in, because I think there's a place for us to talk about that Barrie's not a small town insulated in a waspy background, that we are moving beyond that. And while founded with great roots, we're now moving into a time where we are looking outward and welcoming everyone. And so we would then have an area that would provide for information and presentations about all of our different international partnerships and a way to showcase those. but also simultaneously through other displays, talk about the types of people, types of groups that have come to Barrie. And at that point, we would reach out into the community and talk to the Filipino community or the German community or the whatever community, and ask them to come up with within some very specific guidelines, because obviously the buildings are not that big. And then as you go through that, the final section would be the future, and talking about the plans for the future for Barrie as we move beyond where we are. Like we've gone not only the growth in the residential population, but the commercial industrial development, et cetera, et cetera. And I see it as a place where you could also put revolving events through it that would then bring more people in, that would help during the winter months, help keep the restaurant going. So I see this as something that I think benefits the entire community, and I wanted to mention it to you guys. I've mentioned it to the mayor. He thought it was a wonderful idea. I've mentioned it to the deputy mayor. Barrie indicates that no decisions have been made, so we're kind of in on the ground floor. It's simply the broad strokes of an outline of an idea. There's lots of room for lots of input and lots of changes. The only thing that I stress to both Jeff and to Barrie is that, and I mean this in a very positive sense, but it needs the passion of somebody from the community to become the chairman of this, to put this together, to make it happen. I don't think it could be turned over to a staff member to become their full-time job for 2 years or something like that. I think it needs to have, obviously there would be staff input, opportunity for staff liaison to troubleshoot and help make sure some of the technical stuff got done. But I think it needs somebody that's going to bring some passion to the project to actually provide that leadership. So basically, as a starting point, there's no promises anywhere. I am putting together a written version of this that would obviously provide, it's still going to be broad strokes, but probably better explanations of what it is I'm actually describing. And I would be sending that to the mayor and the deputy mayor. It's actually funny. I spent about a half an hour explaining all this to Jeff the day before. I mean, he was super keen, thought it was awesome, was keen to see it move forward. And then the very next day announced that he was running for MPP. So, I mean, let's put it this way. He was certainly good at keeping it a secret. Certainly nobody gave me any heads up. But Barry's also showing an interest in the concept. And so I'm going to move ahead with it. And anyway, I thought you guys might like to know what the concept was. And I can see some of you, perhaps, if you're interested, there's certainly no pressure on anyone, but I thought you might grab some of the enthusiasm. And obviously, if we want to do something about our international partners, I'll be turning to the international partners and their representatives to start giving some thought to some of those ideas. So that's what I wanted to lay out to you. Did I leave anything out? And when we're talking about the future, that would also be the place where youth ambassadors and global would be focused as well. And we might also include some of those other broad-based programs that deal internationally. I know there's a global, biodiversity is the name of the new program, not new, but the new name of an old program at North. There may be other ones out there, and we could provide room for us to talk about how we have the commitments that we have made as a city to our youth as we reach out to the world. Okay, that's kind of my background on something. Anybody have any thoughts or questions or commentary on all of it? Lou?
Yeah, just also include a connection with Base Borden, which Barrie and Allendale was.
You know what? And I'm sorry, I should have included that. That's on my list. It's part of the historical connection with the building of Barrie. So that was already on my list. Colonel, I apologize, I didn't mention it directly, but thanks, Lou, for reminding me. But it is on my written list. Anyone else? Okay, because I'm a beggar for punishment, does anyone at least think this is a good idea?
I do.
Okay, good. It's just, there was dead silence always makes the person that's throwing the idea twitchy about whether there's some positivity there. All right, good. So this is something y'all think is worthwhile and moving forward. All right, cool. All right, so that's basically all I had for the meeting. And hopefully you'll be able to join us next Monday for the web launch. And Jean-Maurice, you and I will speak tomorrow. Yes, Lou, sorry.
No, sorry, just I've never gone on to the YouTube for the city meetings. Is it pretty easy, Tammy?
Yes, I can send you, I'll send out the link to everybody for the YouTube.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, so it's just Kieran and I. Tammy, as soon as I get that link, I'll share it with Kieran, and then we need, please don't forget Carl Kovacs.
Yes, yeah, I'll try and set something up with you and Carl
I appreciate that.
to do maybe a test or whatever. A test
Actually, what
run or
I'll, and I wouldn't mind enough notice about that I could ask Kieran to wheel in at the same time, because I mean, I can say, yeah, that's nice, but Kieran's the guy that's going to have techie questions for the techie guy, right?
That's right, yeah.
All right, cool.
Okay,
Okay.
I'll set something up.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, Jean-Maurice, we'll talk tomorrow at your pleasure. And the rest of you, thanks for everything. And the next time you see me, no, Monday night, if you check in, you'll see me then. And after that, I'll be away.
Yeah, lucky.
Oh, you're going to be away too, smart Alec.
Yeah. Plenty of fun.
All right. Take care, folks. We'll talk to you later.
Nice seeing everybody.
Bye.
See you guys.
Yes, Lou, are you turning us off? Okay.